While I listed Sanwo-Olu, Wike, military chiefs, others as my witnesses, Nnamdi Kanu. Incarcerated leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has explained why he wants governors, ministers, and former military chiefs amongst notable personalities he listed as witness in his terrorism case. The IPOB leader, whose no-case submission was dismissed by Justice James Omotosho, is due to open his defense on the trial. Minister Wike, FCT David Umahi former Army Chief General Theophilus Danjuma and General Toko Buratai were among the 23 witnesses whose names were front-loaded by the IPOB leader. Also listed as witnesses are Imo State Governor Uzodimma, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, former Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, former Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami, Director General of the Director of State Services, DSS Oluwatosin Ajayi, his predecessor Yusuf Bichi, and former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, Ahmed Rufai Abubakar. In a document filed on Wednesday, which he personally signed, Kanu prayed the court to extend the 6 days earlier granted him to conduct his defense to 90 days. Justice Omotosho at the last hearing granted his request to a private meeting with his team of lawyers on October 22 in the courtroom of the Federal High Court in Abuja, preparatory for today's commencement of his defense. In the document, Kanu categorized his witnesses into two: ordinary but material defense witness, voluntary, and material or vital witness to be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. In a document filed on Wednesday, which he personally signed, Kanu prayed the court to extend the 6 days earlier granted him to conduct his defense to 90 days. Justice Omotosho at the last hearing granted his request for a private meeting with his team of lawyers on October 22 in the courtroom of the Federal High Court in Abuja, preparatory for today's commencement of his defense. In the document, Kanu categorized his witnesses into two: ordinary but material defense witness, voluntary, and material and vital witness to be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. He also indicated his intention to testify in person. According to the documents, Kanu said he plans to call Wike to testify of the Obigbo massacre following the NSAS protest and the role of security forces under his authority. He said Uzodimma is to testify on public statements following Ahmed Golak's death and subsequent clarification exonerating IPOB. Kanu said he would be inviting General Danjuma to testify on his 2018 public warning, urging self-defense against infiltrated armed forces, contextualizing the defendant's advocacy for self-defense. He said Buratai would testify on the 2017 invasion of the defendant's residence and the chain of command authorizing the military operation. Kanu said Sanwo-Olu would testify on the findings of the Lagos State NSAS Judicial Panel, particularly the Lekki Tollgate massacre, evidencing state pattern of repression. Umahi is scheduled to testify regarding the proscription of IPOB without judicial order and its consequences, while Ikpeazu will testify on his knowledge and administrative participation in the 2017 military invasion within Abia State. Kanu wants Malami to testify on directive and authorization connected with the defendant's extraordinary rendition from Kenya in June 2021. Also, Ajayi is being invited to clarify on his public lectures and statements on terrorists and invaders relevant to interpreting the defendant's own broadcast. Kanu said Bichi should testify on knowledge and authorization of rendition operations, custody conditions, and compliance with legal procedures. He said Abubakar is expected to testify on the operational and diplomatic coordination of the rendition. Kanu said a DSS official whose name he failed to disclose will be invited to be cross-examined regarding direct involvement in the defendant's abduction and illegal transfer, fabrication of witness statements, and custodial abuses. Those listed as ordinary witnesses include Chief Emeka Ume Agbalasi, who he described as an expert in political history and self-determination. According to the document, Ume Agbalasi will testify on the historical and legal context of self-determination movements such as IPOB and their treatment under Nigerian and international law, including extrajudicial killings and the defendant's associates. Mazi Benjamin Madubugu, an associate of the defendant and former co-accused, is expected to testify to the internal structure and objective of IPOB, refuting claims that it's a terrorist organization. Chief Dan Ulasi, a community leader in Umuahia, Abia State, is being invited to testify on the perception of the defendant's podcast as political commentary rather than incitement. Bruce Fein, described as an international human rights and constitutional lawyer based in Washington, D.C., United States, will testify on the legality of the defendant's extraordinary rendition and its implication for jurisdiction and fair trial. Emeritus Professor Martins Agbaji, who Kanu said is his treating physician, is to testify on the defendant's medical condition, effect of detention, and fitness to stand trial. Barry Sutton, a digital security expert at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Massachusetts, MA, USA, would examine the integrity of the electronic evidence, including chain of custody, authenticity, and tampering issues. Chief Godwin I. Chionyere, described as a senior lawyer and community leader from Isiama, Afaraoko, Ibeku, Umuahia, Abia State, is to testify on the defendant's good heart and standing in his community. Prince Emmanuel Kanu of No. 1 Eze Oko Kanu Close, Umuahia, Abia State, described as an eyewitness to the 2017 military invasion of the defendant's residence, is expected to testify to the event, casualties, and use of excessive force by the enemy. Kanu said he will, in his testimony, provide a sworn account of the facts, denying the allegation and explaining the political context of his statement and action. Part of the documentary is notice of number and names of witnesses to be called by the defendant and request for witness summons subpoena and the variation of the time within which to defend the court charges against the defendant. Now, take notice that pursuant to the order of this Honorable Court made on the 16th day of October 2025, directing the defendant to commence the defense on the 24th day of 2025. It is well, so he is going to be defended. He has even already started already, so it is well. Ehejika says, all I ever know, you try. All I know, never you try, will pass you by everything. Be wise, okay? Achuku says, I see this case end up in ICC. Tennessee says, any man who have eaten human carcass will definitely get confused in life. Plus 23, before 23, plus himself will finish testimonies. The prosecuting counsel will call his own 23. Total witness 46. Maybe. Judgment delivery the year 2035. We are not serious. This Friday says another civil war ahead of Nigeria at this time. Can the so-called foreign countries deliver Nigeria from the hands of Biafra? Oh, you think they don't like the fact that this thing is like this? I don't understand though. They should save Nigeria from the hands of Biafra. Now, my listeners, don't forget to like, to share, subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.